Welcome to another Little Acts of Decluttering podcast episode. Today I've got a couple of Reddit stories for you that are along the lines of Am I the Arsehole? About decluttering and minimalism. I think these are quite interesting ones to discuss, and you may have different points of view, so let me know in the comments below what you think to these stories. Am I the arsehole for slowly throwing away all of my sister's belongings? Okay, so after I, 28 male, got kicked out of my apartment, I needed a new place to stay. My sister, 24 female, is living at her friend's house and says they are cool with me crashing for the summer. I only need about 3 months anyways. When I show up, the place is a mess. Even worse, the room that I was supposed to take is now a dumping ground for my sister's stuff. The kitchen is cluttered and disgusting. The bathroom is cluttered, mouldy and stinky. I decided to stay anyways because, hey, free rent. Over the course of the past month, I have been cleaning and decluttering everywhere I could. I can't believe my friend puts up with her. Actually, I can. She is also responsible for the mess. I have thrown away countless cups, plates, canned food, candy, pasta, coffee, tea, hair accessories, cheap rings, sandals, Tupperware, trash, clothes, hats, countless socks, etc. I know it sounds like this stuff could have been donated, but all of her clutter comes from cheap dollar stores. They both love having me as a roommate because they think I'm handy. I am. Slowly my sister has been noticing her stuff missing. She has questioned me and even called me asking if I've seen her shoes or whatever. I just deny seeing it and say I only throw away expired food, duplicates or broken stuff. I'm able to get away with throwing stuff out because I only do it on trash day. Yesterday I messed up though because I forgot it wasn't trash day. I had filled the trash can with a bunch of my sister's clothes and I was too lazy to take the trash out. She rarely uses the kitchen trash cans anyway, since she usually doesn't clean up after herself. I was wrong, and she noticed. I came home to an emptied out kitchen trash can in the middle of the kitchen and she demanded I explained myself. I simply said I had a trash box and a goods box and that I emptied out the wrong box while I was decluttering the laundry room. She didn't buy it. I'm doing her a favour and her friend a favour, but they just don't see it. Am I the arsehole? My gut instinct here is yes, because he's not really asking any permission at all. I could understand getting rid of expired food and broken items, but anything else should absolutely be asked in advance. It's not your stuff. You're there as a guest. You're there to live rent free, and you're not doing them a favour by getting rid of things that they are going to be wanting because you don't know what they want. There is an edit. Okay, people, I am the arsehole. After reading many comments and arguing with all, I see it now. I still need time to think about what to do next, but I for sure need to apologise and offer to replace everything. What I have learned, I was essentially stealing. It didn't ask for my help. My actions make hoarding worse. Not sure if it's full-on hoarding, but I am not helping. They're doing me a massive favour, not the other way round. I am a guest. Detail I left out, I have no job. I got kicked out of my last apartment because my landlord wanted her daughter to move in closer to her. I'm sleeping on the couch because that's the only space available for the moment. A couple of comments. How would you like it if somebody else threw away your stuff just because they happen to think it's not usable? If your sister is noticing, that means you're throwing away things she was ready to use. There's a few discussions about whether or not the sister and the friend are hoarders. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are hoarders. It depends on their lifestyle, what they're doing, and they are generally looking like they're needing the stuff. So that suggests to me that maybe not hoarders, they're just busy, and life can get chaotic, can't it? Another comment, OP is the arsehole because he was overstepping his boundaries. Clutter doesn't always equal hoarding, but this is not for anyone here to judge at all. If her roommate didn't have a problem with it, then end of story, stay out of their business. How does throwing away clothes, rings, sandals even sound reasonable to anybody? There is a comment about the gaslighting. The gaslighting when the sister looks for her stuff, appalling. So I think that's what makes it like he's overstepping completely here, because he's not even thinking about the way he's speaking to her when she's asking for her stuff. He's trying to make out like he doesn't know and making her feel stupid for asking, and that's not very kind at all, especially if you're doing that to a family member. That's a bit concerning. Another one, you're the asshole and a liar. Okay, the place is messy, but you don't know what is important to your sister and what is not. I can understand throwing out expired food, but not objects. Instead, you took it upon yourself to clear out stuff you didn't consider important without taking your sister's feelings into consideration. Even worse, you lied about it. Your sister noticing missing things. That was the time to come clean. Instead, you denied seeing the things that you were busily throwing away. It wasn't your place to do that. You weren't doing anybody a favour. You were being a bit of a bully. Admit what you did to your sister, apologise, offer to replace the items you've thrown out, and say that when you clean in future, you'll put items in a box for her to sort through later. That's absolutely the right way to do it, isn't it? And do her a favour by moving out as soon as you can. You don't sound very trustworthy. Quite opinionated on that. What are your thoughts? Okay, next story. Am I the asshole for not wanting to be a minimalist? I think that's quite an interesting title in itself, isn't it? There is this pressure to be completely minimalist and not just partial minimalist or decluttering. It's, are you willing to go the full step? Okay. My husband woke up in a foul mood and has been raring for a fight all day. It was a fight about stuff and clutter, which is a reoccurring fight. I can always tell when he is super stressed because he gets super hyper-focused on stuff. His mother was or is a terrible hoarder and he absolutely hates anything left out with the exception of kids' toys. He says I am a hoarder and wants to order a dump truck and throw away 50% of our belongings. Confession, I do tend to have a lot of art supplies and ceramics that I have made, but it is my passion and I tried to keep it contained to 2 places. On the contrary, I grew up with a mother who was a dictator about everything had to be put away the moment it was done being used. Nothing was ever out. My parents' house still looks like a minimalist showroom. Now that I'm an adult, I think it is reasonable to have a pile of paperwork to leave out or leave mail out to go through at a later time. It feels liberating. Keep in mind, I honestly think we have an average amount of stuff. I've even taken my counsellor via telehealth on a tour of my house to get an outside perspective, and she doesn't think we have a problem. Very little sits on the counters. I'm continuously going through stuff and giving things away that we don't use to friends, family, and our local buy nothing group. Tonight, my husband lays in on me giving ultimatums. Acting like I'm not listening to him, he tells me that the stuff out in every room is like having a radio in every room blaring commercials from different stations. I tried to point out all the stuff I've done so far to improve the situation. He says he is done with the slow getting rid of shit. He is overly critical of me and dismissive of what I'm doing. He isn't willing to meet halfway. He had the audacity to show me how to put my purse away. It was only sitting out because I hadn't had a chance to put it away. Small kid kept me occupied, but was on my list of things to clean up this evening. Every night I spent 1 to 2 hours getting all the dishes done, put away leftover food, make breakfast for the next day, wipe down all counters and tables, sweep up the kitchen, tidy up the kids' stuff, and if I have energy, somewhere other than the kitchen for 20 minutes. I follow various decluttering social media accounts. I try to get rid of 3 to 5 things a week through Buy Nothing Group. I always have a Goodwill bag in progress. I really make an effort to not buy a lot of stuff, other than food where I splurge. Am I the asshole for not wanting to pitch 50% of my belongings and embrace his minimalist aspirations? I think my biggest concern here is the way that he is speaking to her, the fact that he's being dismissive of what she is already doing, when actually she is doing quite a lot of decluttering and she's doing a lot of stuff. And it appears that she's doing most of the housework, most of the cleaning and tidying, that actually he's not chipping in with that. It doesn't feel like he's chipping in, but he's very dismissive of what she has done so far. I'm not sure I'd be okay with somebody speaking to me like that. Okay, one of the top comments is, the way he's dealing with this is not okay, so not that arsehole. We don't know whether or not you have an existing amount of clutter or not, so I can't comment on that. I will say when I lived with a partner whose sense of decor was over the top or offensive to my senses, I asked for 1/3 of the wall space to be mine, and one room out of the 4 to be left to me to decorate so I could have a peaceful retreat. Maybe offer him that. I did offer him this weekend to make his home office more comfortable to him, move his desk by a window, clear some of the pottery from a shelf so that he could have a space. I guess it kind of disarmed him, but not exactly what he wants. Another comment is, honestly, it sounds like because of your childhood, you two are just not compatible when it comes to living together. Kind of strange this issue wasn't brought up before marriage or having kids. But without seeing your house, it's impossible to say who's right or who's wrong here, because from what you write, it make it sound not so bad. I get the feeling if your husband was to write here, he'd make it all sound like you two were living in a pig pen. OP has written back to some of these comments. She said, you have a point. He would probably say our house is a pigsty, but I've gotten friends and my counsellor to weigh in to see if I have a distorted thinking about clutter and stuff. Another point is that it really comes down to the fact that you're willing to compromise and he isn't. Unless he gets into counselling as well and agrees to some kind of compromise, this isn't going to work. I think his expectation is way too high and there's some underlying issues there. I think she's already decluttering and is already doing a pretty good job, that actually I don't see what the problem is with her decluttering and efforts that she's putting in. Clearly he has some issues going on there, and the way he's speaking to her is not particularly nice, so I'd say that he is the asshole there than her. As far as being a minimalist and getting rid of 50% of your stuff, I don't feel like you have to do that extreme to call yourself a minimalist. I know some people don't call my home a minimalist home, but it's minimalist to me, and I think that's what matters. It's at a level that I find acceptable, and I can tell when I have slightly too much that it doesn't feel minimalist to me, and that's when I need to have another go through, another declutter of different areas so that it feels calm and minimalist again to me. But having that personal understanding of minimalism is what works. But because I'm a single parent, I don't have to worry about a partner. I think if I did have a partner, it would be a case of making sure that I had my areas to a standard that I was happy with, and that I would have to tolerate and compromise with the other person about mess, should that have been an issue. But I think that would be something that I would have in a very early conversation. I think that's quite important to me, that it is a calm environment, and if those things didn't align quite early on in a relationship, I think I'd be confident enough to prioritise what's important to me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, whether or not you think they are the arsehole or not. Some interesting ideas about minimalism there, and attitudes and expectations on others. Just food for thought. I should be back for more Reddit stories very soon. Take care. Bye.